Yeah, Daniel. Baba. Yeah, Daniel. Something more. Yeah. Yeah, Daniel. Technical difficulties here.
If you can call him no priest,
Yeah. Yes.
that you have to go do and check him out. So go on.
Jadogi.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yes, my lord. Floor is yours.
Not hearing you. Not hearing you at all.
The floor is yours, my lord.
One's hearing I.
Yes, my lord.
Let me come out and come back in. If that changes.
But we hearing you. Why are you coming out?
Because I'm not hearing everything low up on my end. So I'm gonna just, restart.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my Lord, we can hear you.
Give thanks. Yes, royal family. Yeah, we do give thanks for this moment. As I and I come together to break bread together, to commune as family to family. A long overdue reasoning. We would have wished that we could be face to face, but because that is not practical at this moment, give thanks that through technology, we are still able to reason. And that is the most important thing, to reason and to come to a fullness and an understanding of where we are, where we should be, and how we're gonna get there. This reasoning is mainly about the Melchizedek priesthood, the order. We are not here discussing anything to do with parliament or any of those things that are very divisive at the moment. Those things will sort itself through when the priests have sought themselves out. And while it's an order, the priests have been in disorder for a while. So this is really to, straighten I and I function, straighten I and I ways, and get forward on track. Because some of us have been part-time priests, some of us have been on a hiatus, different, and we're not pointing any fingers at anyone. Circumstances is what they are, but we are at this point where we can no longer tolerate, the dysfunction of our father's foundation and I father's liberty, which is I and I liberty, because I and I is the Emmanuel of this moment. See? Now, as the program that was posted some days ago states, today is really just the opening of the ceremony, just to let ones know what is coming up, how it's gonna proceed. Tomorrow we will have our Psalms reading to bring in the Sabbath, calling on 7 priests, to be ready. Yeah, calling on 7 priests to be ready to fulfill the order of 7. And from that, we will have our Psalms reading, our hymns, at least 2 hymns, closing comments, prayer, the usual. The only thing that we're not going to have a full-length service, because that is not what this is about. When we get ourselves together, then our service will be glorious as usual, because we have no problem as priests, carrying our service through. That has never been a problematic function. It is really the brotherhood and the sisterhood that has been in disrepute at this point. So on Sabbath now, there will be a live stream, hopefully, of a service, whether from New York or St. Lucia, Miami, wherever, the link is linked up. We will try to have a live stream of the morning service. Now in the evening, starting at 5, we will open up the conference again, and there the floor will be given to the Women's Freedom Liberation League to make their presentation, to bring forth whatever they have to share with the family. Then that's from 5 to 7. And from 7 to 9, the floor will be open to the younger brethren, the prophets and the acting priests to voice their voice as well, because everyone has to have a say in this, reasoning. It's all inclusive. And we close after that until Sunday morning now, where the Melchizedek priests will sit in conference. I would like as many priests as possible to be there to participate, because everyone's voice is important. There is no supreme leader here. The supreme leader lies within each of I and none of I is higher than the other. We're not going by no longevity, how long a man into this or how long a man laxes or how much a man can chant and all of those things. This is about the brotherhood of priests. So we want to hear from all the leading priests, all the senior priests on Sunday, because we want to come away after this conference with a working process family, where the order should be on track. From there, we can start to formulate how we're going to do what we need to do, how we're going to rectify, if we can rectify what is happening at the hill at 10 miles. I will not say the headquarters. Sorry, I will not use that as a definition, because the headquarters is where I are. Every branch has its autonomy as long as they are functioning uprightly in the way the Father set it to be. Because contrary to a lot of what is being said, the Father authorized those branches. Branch in Trinidad, the branch in Miami, the branch in Bahamas, they're all authorized branches that are supposed to be functioning in one accord, according to the principles that were set by the Black Christ, King Emmanuel, Charles Edwards, our father, Dada. So we will be reasoning Sunday, and we won't be leaving that reasoning without something substantive. We want a tangible outcome. We don't want lip service. And this is not about, this is not the Day of Atonement. That will come afterwards, when everyone can come and speak their grouse and speak, whatever it is that is bothering them. Or this is about the order, the priesthood order, and how it has to function, how we have to start to live again as brothers within this liberty. Because we have lost that first love, and we need to find back that first love. God, that first love is what is gonna save I and I. See, that first love is what brought us to Christ. That first love is what made I and I take the oath to stand with the Father. Because he never forced I and him asked the question, who will stand with him against the workers of iniquity? And all of I and I, answered, I and I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So I and I need to live to I and I oath that we have pledged. And the man said, he that put it man to the plow and take it forward, it's better them tie a millstone around them neck and jump off into the ocean. See, for I am not backing from the work, because that is what I and I sign on for. The man said, never promised I and I a rose garden, The man says, tribulation and long suffering that marks the way. It marks the way, because that's the sacrifice that I and I have to make as the priest on the golden altar for the sins of humanity. We no longer kill doves and goats and all of those things as sacrifice. It is I and I who are the living sacrifice. And the man said, the priest upon the golden altar must be without blemish. Now, the man also knows that I and I is imperfect. So he's not talking about perfection, you know. He's talking about principle. By living to the principles that he taught I and I, that is what keep I and I blemish free. Keep I and I hands clean and I hearts pure. And that has not been the function over these years. You know, there have been many maligning and character assassinations and all kind of things. The empress them have been done grave disservice within the order. You know, ones have been cowed down, ones have been threatened, ones have been put through all kinds of, you know, bad vibes. As priests, our job is to make the crooked straight, to rectify what is wrong. And that is why we are having this discussion, you know, going forward. Now, although this is the opening ceremony, so many ones are on, so we will seize the moment and, you know, open the floor for a moment for upful and upright reasoning. No matter how we feel, my sister Empress Marina always say a thing, and she has said it publicly in public spaces, that when it comes to Bobo Ashanti, no matter how we disagree, we always do it uprightly. We don't call each other out our name and we title. Like how I hear some things going on the internet where someone's who want to claim power, calling big man out of them name and out of them title, and big empress out of them name and out of them title. That is unacceptable. So some of those are some of the things that I and I have to discuss during this reasoning to get back those principles intact. Because we are all gods and goddesses, and if we see the God in ourselves, we would know, we'd acknowledge the God in each other. And if we acknowledge the God in each other, then we would deal respectfully with each other and not the way we have been dealing. And we are not saying we are cuddling wrong or we are gonna, you know, allow certain things to transpire because we are being courteous. No. Correction is an oil to my head. See, and so if Iman is going wrong, I want my brothers and sisters to draw me up. But don't draw me up in a way where it destroy me, mash up my spirit, it mash up my vibe. You know, it make me feel despondent, like, you know, Iman don't want to walk with the man them no more or walk with the liberty no more. That is not how our Father teach us. You know? And like the man teach with your sin unto death and sin unto forgiveness. And from I and I is not doing certain things, then we are not committing any sin unto death. We might be bucking our toe here and there, you know, little errand, according to how, you know, the human frailties exist within I and I. But there has to be a chalk line that we don't cross as a family. And that is what we want to reestablish, because those lines have become blurred over the years. And we have to give each other room to correct our errors, you know, to atone and to repair the breach. God, the man said, rather not the death of a sinner, you know, but that a sinner turn to repentance. So if the Almighty set that principle, who is I and I not to adhere to those principles? Sometimes it comes like we want to condemn one another and would I like see one another come to harm. See. So that is my few words. The program is shared. So ones and ones should be able to see the program and see what, you know, timing is and how it will proceed. And as I said, tomorrow we would like 7 priests to be ready to carry up the Psalms reading, because those Psalms that we're gonna read tomorrow is gonna cut and clear for I and I, the pathway, you know, move all the obstacles, all the barriers, break down the stony hearts, you know, that I and I can commune one to another in uprightness, you know, in divine love, so I and I can accomplish the task at hand. Yes, family. So at this moment, I would open the floor to anyone that has something to contribute at this moment. As we said, this is not the official reasoning, but so many of I are here right now. Let's utilize the moment to at least commune one to another and start the process. Any suggestions, any whatever ones want to state, the floor is open.
Blessed greetings. Blessed greetings, my Lord and Empress.
My Lord.
Yes, my Lord. Yes, give thanks and our priest Dougie for hosting, such inaugural mission, within our movement, This is our first attempt at an ecumenical reasoning. And so, we welcome the move. I'm not making any comment right now, Priest Dougie, but I just want to ask if we are planning to have some kind of yardstick. Are we using it now to create a standard, to a moving forward standard, by which we are going to adhere to some of what we agree on? And how are we going to, as the study group, we know we can monitor that among ourselves, but what plan are we going to use to bring these principles or resolutions to the wider brotherhood and sisterhood of the family? That's just a question I'm asking.
Great question, Bertrand. Great question. Out of I reasoning, resolutions will be, documented. And those resolutions that are agreed upon by the collective, we will indelible them. We will concrete them, because we have to start at this point writing our liturgy. There's a lot of things that we have not done as a priesthood. Understand? If we are truly a priesthood order, we have to evolve. We have to elevate ourselves to a higher standard than where the Father left it. The Father don't expect I and I to keep it at the level that he left it. That's why I'm calling intelligent man and woman to his side. Ones that have the capability to mold and to develop what is needed within the order for the order to grow and to be attractive to future generations. There is a attitude that we have of saying that I didn't do it or it wasn't done on the hill. No, the God within us, is the guiding line, is the measure stick. Now, a thing might not have been done, whether it is a act, a project, a way, might not have been done at the time when the Father was present, because it wasn't relevant at that moment. But in this time and space, it is relevant. It is for the divine order, the priests them, to sit in council and assess whatever is proposed and either accept it and reject it according to how it affects I and I. If something enhances our liberty, then we have to embrace it. So out of all of the suggestion, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so it means then that we are going to be planning to have a priesthood handbook then.
Yes, definitely. We have to grow, and we have to leave a legacy for the youth them that coming up to take the order, Rasta. Because after I and I gone, there is not going to be anyone's here that have walked with the Father. But when we concretize it and leave just the same way Marcus Garvey, the honorable prophet, left a legacy of literary writing And His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I left a legacy of literary writing. Seeing our father started to do the same, but he didn't finish because of how the process went. It is on I and I now to complete that process, to write the church liturgy, to write our ways, our principles, indelible them, that nobody can come now and wonder how it is supposed to go, or what was done and what wasn't done, or what was accepted and what wasn't. It is for I and I to make sure that that is clear. So coming out of this reasoning, we will be able to compile information. And it's an ongoing process, because just like the Constitution is a living document. And what a living document means is that it has buildable scope, expandable scope. It is not limited to just what was put down on the paper at that first moment. Seeing? And in reality, our Constitution was just a start, because a Constitution has to have at least 8 characters in it to be a full Constitution. Ours don't even have 4. So it is a living document that needs to be expanded. And it's the same thing with the church liturgy. We need to document the gospel of Emmanuel, so the world can know what the gospel of Emmanuel is, who Emmanuel is, who the Black Christ is, what the Black Christ came to do, what the mission is, because it not was, it is. Like I and I said earlier, the Emmanuel of this time is I and I. Each of I and I, the Father infuse His Spirit with for I and I to fulfill the work. So yes, my Lord, we will be documenting and we will be establishing what the collective deem to be our way, so the world can acknowledge it in time to come. I don't know if that addresses the question.
Yes, my Lord. Quite explicitly.
Honorable my Lord, blessed art thou, my Lord and Empress. To the work, ye servants of our God. Let us follow the path that our Master have trod. With the balm of your counsel, our strength to renew. Let us do it our hands, that our mind tell us to do. Work in salvation, the ends of the earth. Man of right is God in flesh. Woman of right is God is most high. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Yes, my Lord and Empress. I glorify any efforts, any unifying efforts, any efforts to strengthen the ties that binds our hearts in one creation love. What I tell you, he wouldn't tell me, but you can tell me what him tell you, and I can tell you what him tell me. And with we will hear him speaking loud and clear. So I dread glorify. May I listen? I have to make a quick move in the shop and come back. But may I listen? And as we say, we're growing. We could have simply see that me and Dad are walking the tabernacle together in company. We both had on our sandals. And we see him change that, which part we go in without, with bare feet. It was a growth. He didn't come and say, well, it was a growth. He got a word and he hold the word. So him honor God in all flesh. That's one thing we see Jah do. Him honor God in all flesh. So we ought to do the same. So I give thanks for the effort. I am here. I just make a quick step as I take 5 minutes and come forward. And I would like to say one thing. I heard a talk host say this a very long time ago, but it makes so much sense. And it is very, applicable to us as a people. Said, it's not what you know that gets you in trouble, but what you know that don't happen to be so.
Oh, love it.
My Lord. You
Love
know?
it.
So
Love it,
I
priest.
will
Yeah,
make
man.
a quick move and I'll be
You
forward, my
say that,
Lord.
priest. Great saying, great saying.
Yeah, it's there. Because you know it, you know, but that's how it goes. So how you really know? So, my lord, a brief moment, Honorable my Lord Majesty, I will forward it.
Bless your Lord, Majesty.
Yeah, man, reasoning continue. Anyone else have any contribution to the reasoning? Feel free.
Blessed love, my Lord and Empress, House of Israel. Give thanks for life, give thanks for the gathering. It is with great feelings of great spiritual and personal happiness that I and I are witnessing this covering of this meeting. I and I as a central committee body of the world churches. Man's egoistic motive and his selfish desire to pursue excessively his own individual interests, thus failing in his God-given task to follow the goals of unifying us all, is witness to the goals of unity for all, is witness to the feebleness of all human nature, and constitutes a major obstacle in the unity of Israel, towards which we strive. How long will I and I, who are disciples of Negus, who are taught by the same Holy Bible to continue to remain divided amongst ourselves, realizing that time has come for the church, the true tabernacle, which is I and I, who make up the different parts of the goody or the body, who are divided, and we have been divided for many centuries until now, to come together in unity to work together in accordance with the words of the apostle Ephesians chapter 4, chapter 5, and chapter 6. I consider the armor of God to clear the way and to open up the realization of unity. Each of I and I have the obligation derived from our covenant with God to proclaim the gospel and to make disciples of all nations, and thus making faith grow, and then we can bear fruits. I and I as EABIC stands above, not really totally above, actually presently, but that is our aim. Living by faith to the Black Christ, the head pillar to whom the church is founded, cannot escape the responsibility to work for peace of the world, to ensure equality for all human beings. Mere positive witness of this gruesome spectacle of human beings being cheated, the image of God being deprived by virtue of their color, poverty, benefits that should be our birthrights of every man are being deprived, suffering, agony, cast forth from the pale of the human existence. Man does not live by bread alone. The spiritual life does not deny, however, the need of bread, therefore. The spiritual life, the harmony of necessarily included the common aspiration of us all for better standards of living, greater improvement in the quality of human existence. May Jah, our creator, the helper, our guiding light of us all, grant us the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the spirit of discernment in this meeting going forward to bear the fruits of his glory. I sincerely wish all success, and I pray that God may lead us to that unity which Israel all over the world eagerly awaits. Most High, Selassie, Jah,
Rastafari.
When I say spirituality, I mean it's not theology or religion, but spirituality is the communication. It's a network between God and I and I and each other. And we must practice that spirituality a little more, so we can be understanding our things actually. And it's not fictional. Our life is not abstract. So we must learn more and educate ourselves each day more and more to carry out this marvelous work. I pray thee, my Lord and Emperor, Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie.
Yeah.
Rastafari.
That is my few words of encouragement to Israel.
Well said, my brethren. Well said, you know. Well said. Well said. Yes, family. Continue reasoning. And like the brethren say, you know, it is far overdue that I and I forge unity. His Majesty said it is the only accepted goal. And if unity is the only accepted goal, then we must endeavor, persevere to achieve it. So that is what we are about. And we can't just say we are sons and daughters of the Most High and we're not showing it through our livity. Because it is not just words, it's word and works. Words by itself is vain. And in cases, it is all dead too. But words with the work is what establish the divine order. So reason continue, floor open. And sisters, feel free, you know. On Sunday, we will have a set of topics that will be shared for discussion. You know, if ones and ones have anything that they see as critical to the order that, you know, they would like to be on the agenda, ones and ones can text it to I, to the African Liberation Network, or personally to I, and we will make sure that it gets on the agenda. But it is simple, family. It is simple. Simple in the sense that I
Yes, sir.
just have to do the right thing. Yes, my lord. Speak. Freedom.
Oh no, please, Doug. You go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, my mic was not mute. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, man. So it is a simple process. Come together in love. You know, love is the greatest solution. And that is what I see is lacking right now amongst I. That love, that first love. Not the love of the world. You know, the love of the world is a corrupt love. You know, see. But the love where that teach I Rasta. See, and it's like a lot of I forget what that love is. You know, it is I duty to protect the youth. I duty to protect the empresses, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters. And we have not done a good job of it. We lost a sister just recently, Mama Sharon, in the worst way that a person could go at that age. Seeing, we did not protect her. And while we can say that, well, I wasn't on the hill, yeah, a team, when a team loses, you know. It's not one person on the team that loses. When a family lose a loved one, it's the entire family that feels the pain. No, we lost a brother, you know, Priest Edley, a divine priest. Nobody was there to defend him. He was standing up for the right of I. Priest Edley always wanted to see the order come forward together. He always talk of that love, that divine love, that first love. So much so that it perturbed him to the edge of what we would call sanity. Myself too. At times I had questioned my own liberty because of when I see how the priest order is functioning, how we are living, among one another. The things that I hear said about even I man personally and others, things that are untrue, things that are just untrue, just lie, just wickedness that we perpetrate against each other while saying we are priests. We're not even going to go to the God level now.
And
Just
our
the
priest
priest.
again,
Yes, my Lord.
it is written that, our divine Father in his wisdom has prepared man to rule over the world with holiness and righteousness and to judge with an upright heart. But, as you touched the point a while ago, it's the same thing I was thinking, that when I look at how we operate, I am seeing that there is not a clear understanding or practice for the words right, holiness, and righteousness. Because when I look at some of our operations, I see us trying to pretend that we are so holy. And at the same time, I am not seeing righteousness, because I see holiness as an allegiance to our divine Father, as a honor and a respect to the divinity. And I see righteousness as an action of good action between our brothers. The righteousness I am looking to see is that honest liberty towards each other, that respect for person and property, that respect for right words of upliftment and truth. Righteousness, they seem to just wrap up righteousness with holiness and think that trying this or run to the tabernacle every day and so we are holy. Holiness and righteousness are two different things. And I am missing a lot the righteousness among us. We need to practice more righteousness, more speaking with upright words, and stop speaking with double tongue. The moment you say something here among these brethren, then by the time you go back and you say something different among another set of brethren, and then we want to see right action of proper care, respect, honesty in the function. These are part of priesthood activity. But if it is shrouded under holiness, and then we pretend that we can deal with each other any kind of way, that is hypocrisy. And then we want to judge with an upright heart. So we want to learn to speak the facts, regardless of if it's a priest that is one of your special friend or associate. We have to learn to speak the facts and to say the things with uprightness of heart, with honesty and truth. That is righteousness to me, because I see a lot of the holiness being tried to be portended, but I'm not seeing the righteousness, because the righteousness is being hidden in holiness, so that people just operate and say and do anything and treat one another any little way and say, I got a psalm reading and I was ministering Saturday and I carry the service through the whole night. So that's all right. I can lie. I can talk any kind of backbiting thing about you. I can malign you. I can victimize you because I am holy. But I really want us to practice righteousness, my Lord. That is one of my comments.
I give
My
thanks every.
Lord,
Yes, I.
and to add, blessed love, my Lord,
Bless the Lord.
Honorable Priest Lamont. And you're so right,
Bless the Lord.
because what is also happening is that a lot of ones who is just coming into the liberty is learning the wrong teachings. Because I have heard many ones here, even in this island, say that like they come into the liberty and then they find out years after what they were taught was not really what it was. So this is, you know, situations like this and conferences like this is very important, because then once, like Priest Dougie said, the liturgy is written, that's what it is. So nothing else other than that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because
sir.
once, yeah, you're learning a lot of the wrong things. A lot of people like to tell you, Dada say this or Dada say that. And then you find out years after, wait, is a man say that? It wasn't that a word that said that, you know? So this is important, my lord.
Give thanks. And to touch on a couple of those points, let me tell you something. Many of the ones that are always quoting what Dada say, never heard Dada speak, you know. And that's all right if they're hearing from their brothers and sisters who did hear, but they need to represent it in a better way. Because by saying that Dada say it now, that makes it supreme. It makes it you know, divine then. So it's unchallengeable. You know, when a lot of time it's a man's interpretation of whatever the subject matter is, you know. And secondly, the priesthood function is not just to minister on the altar. It's like that is how we see the priesthood, you know, just going into the tabernacle, and from you going to the tabernacle and do your thing and come out, everything else all right, as Priest Lamont said. And that is not it. Ministering in the tabernacle is just 10% of what it takes to be a priest. There's a whole lot more to I and I levity than just regurgitating scriptures and rhetoric. You know, I and I need to be coming out of I and I selves with the divine inspiration. But to do that, we have to be clean. That's how the man said it. The man said, clean hands and a pure heart. And that is the problem we are having. A lot of I and I have become polluted, have become tainted, you know, and we are not attempting to purge, because that is what the campground was, you know, a purging ground. That's why the Father made the rituals so continuous, you know, to reinforce that righteous way in I and I. See? So when it is embedded in us now, we can trot out into the world and rise other armies of priests and empresses to walk within the order. Now, the Father always said him never culture I and I to minister to Bobo. Him culture I and I to go out there and rise the army, to carry the gospel to those who have never heard his name, never heard what he said. So them never know what salvation and the salvation order is. But most of I and I, we just believe that the priest's job is total. As long as we are carrying up Psalms reading and we are going to service, that is the sum total of it. Now, another issue is, with all that has transpired on the hill, before the hill can call people to come there again and in fellowship, it needs to be purged. It is polluted. During I and I time, there was never no death within the camp. And if there was any death, it was a natural transition. It wasn't violence and you know, the kind of wicked acts that we see taking place right now. So there is something radically wrong within I and I levity when I and I see say evil have the power that evil have right now to penetrate our borders.
Honorable, my lord.
My lord.
To jump in with that. Is it the breaking down of the communal living from how I and I used to live, like, you know what I mean, back in them time day? Because as we see, like, even out in the world right there now, you know, we don't rise up to say, well, we hearing the principles every day, you know what I mean, and adhering to them and these things there, you check? So more times, like, ones and ones, basically doing as they like, you know, being free, so to speak. You know what I mean? And that break down the fraternity or the sorority same way too, within the love aspect of it, you know, and even to respect one another, you know what I mean? Because these same principles is what used to hold, I mean, I and I together, you check? So if ones and ones now drawing away slowly from the principles, you're going to create what we call the same disunity. Now to ask a question to the item that was on the hill at the time, what was the level when it comes to the disunity of I and I on the hill when Dada was there? And, you know, I know he rectified many matters between brethrens and sistrins. You know what I mean? But the question is like, when Dada was there to rectify all of these problems, all of the, you know, things that went on between I and I, why didn't we keep it up amongst ourselves? You know, even though the man made a step to continue to rectify our problems, you know what I mean? And come together on the same basis as one. Yes, my Lord and Majesty. Please give them.
Well, I will jump in first and try to answer the question there. My Lord, you see, our culture didn't prepare I and I for the treading of the Father. Priest Adigan has said this many times on the international forum. And because of that, many ones lost their way. Them never see the God in themselves to begin with. That is how I really see it, because they saw the God in themselves. When the Father transitioned, they would know that it is their duty now to step into that role and continue the role of the Father, the way of the Father. But ones and ones, through them now see the God in themselves, them just see the God in a Dada. It cause when Dada trod now, them lose faith and they know anything goes. You know. Part again, one of the solutions to that problem is a clear church liturgy. Ones may not understand the power of a church liturgy. It is a proven ancient way. Every tradition coming out of Africa from that time till now have their liturgy. What is their liturgy? How them function, the way the principles work, how we are supposed to deal one to another. All of those things need to be indelibly established and not left to one's interpretation, which is what I am hearing within the I question as well, where one's is doing what they feel or what they are interpreting. You understand? There's a standard. If it's an order, that means it's set, you know. That's why it's the Melchizedek order. It is set. The only thing that we can do with that order is to help it to evolve, not to change it, not to reinterpret what has been divine all along, but help it to evolve. How does it evolve? We infuse what needs to be infused within the time that we are. You understand? We are in a different age right now. We are in the 21st century. So there is a different level of what do you say now, function in certain ways that encompass the 21st century. So we infuse what we need to infuse in the foundation of I&I Liberty to make it more practical and attractive to the younger generation who come up in this age. That is what we need to do. But ones and ones, they are changing things to fit their personal little agenda. And that is what is doing the harm, you know, where ones is not giving the voice to everyone. You know, it's like each of us don't have an equal voice. When our Father sat on that throne, we all had an equal voice. We all could approach the Father and reason the Father and tell the Father what we needed to tell him, ask him what we needed to ask him, get his advice and so forth. We all had that freedom, seeing we all were equal in his sight. Today you have what you call brand name priests, where those virgins feel like they are the cat's meow, like they are the cream of the crop, and they are the sole authority. None of I and I are no supreme leader. This is a brotherhood and a sisterhood. We are supposed to commune. Yes, Mama.
Yes. As blessed love again and our family, give thanks again for the down setting. Did I come out join and give thanks to the reason same way. Thanks to each and every one. Holy Emmanuel, I Celestia. Yes, Honorable. You asked about, when the father was on the hill and where there's, disunity amongst itself. Oh, the father would have deal with it, I and I that deal with it. But to tell you the truth, Honorable, there were more unity and love than disunity amongst itself.
True, Mama Maisie. True.
And we are not saying that we don't have problem because say anyway God go Satan follow, but we always deal with it. And the thing about it, we are so lucky and fortunate. If we can manage, then we have a father we could go and say, Dada, so and so and so, see it, and the father would have call us or the problem between the two people, whether man or woman, and the father would have did talk to I and split the justice and make we feel good into I and I self. So it's a more unity, majesty. But here this now. After the father left, right? Then the unity, that love, gone through the door, gone through the gate. You understand? And you find now there are more disunity amongst the Bobo family up at the foundation more than unity. Because you that I used to tell us, say, don't open the gate. Never ever open the gate wide to let the enemy come in. Because when the enemy come in, it's going to be hard to get them out. And when the father turn, that's what the elders them do. See, open the door and let in the pirate. And then when them let in the pirate, them know, they can't get them out. And that's why the foundation is what it is today. If I and I did just follow the Father word, the Father teaching, how we, how him teach we how to live amongst ourselves within the unity and the love. See, the don't be what it is today. See, because we had it stronger in ourselves, mean we that are not dead enough for go. But, we have more follow the teaching, where the man teach we and carry on the work. But when that are gone, man, everything turned upside down because the elders, them come in like so they didn't know what to do because them left everything. They depend upon the Father for everything. And they was learning how.
Aye, Mama, that is the key right there, so. That's the key right there, so.
Yeah, they wasn't learning, right? And that I left, and everybody licked them head. Oh, we never know that I was going anywhere. And appear murmuring amongst the elders. You understand? Instead of we say, yes, the government is on our shoulder.
Yes.
Let's carry it on. You see, how we get the teaching from the Father, how to govern, and run the Congress. Because the man, when I came up there, the reason was 6 months we're going to rule Jamaica before we go home. And I always said to myself, say, boy, if we can't run a little Congress, we're going to run 14 parish in Jamaica with 2.5 million people. You understand? So, we lose out. We lose out, we lost because we never have listened to the Father teaching, see, and follow in him footstep, my Lord. So it's when that did it again, it was more unity than disunity. See, and we could not deal with any disunity will come along. You know,
Yes.
give thanks, my Lord, for the few words. Blessed love.
And the principle again, as you speak,
and
Mama,
the
the principle,
yes,
listen now.
principle.
When it was set, this was set. When two ones have a problem, the father said, don't make the sun set on it.
No, yes.
You have to sort it out before the sun set. And if it don't sort out by the sunset, he said, don't make the Sabbath come and it no sort out.
Exactly.
See, that means that the man said, if you the two one can't sort it out, call your virgin and call your sister. And say, my Lord, Empress, this is how this thing I go, how they hide them see it. And the voice of the people is the voice of God. So when your brother and your sister come,
so carry to him there after we carry the third party.
Well, now that the father not there, we have to use the principle. So the man said, call your brother and sister when them come. Them is the voice of God. So when you say, this and this went down, and the ones them say, well, you know how we see it, this is how we see it. We're supposed to adhere to our brother and sister's sound. You understand? We're supposed to listen, evaluate what them say, and see if it is practical and it makes sense and it brings the solution. And embrace it and we'll move on.
So,
yes, my Lord.
It means then that, as you said earlier, I am just reiterating that we did not see God in ourselves. And so when that had tried, we had no respect for each other. And so without the God in us, we were not able to continue in the harmony. Because when Dada was there and you walk into the camp, and when you bless a brethren or a sister, you look into their face, you look into their eyes, and you said, blessed love my Lord, blessed love Empress, and you look at the person that you are greeting, and there is that soul connection. When that had tried, everything changed. And people just walking away and bless you.
Well,
people don't look at you and then bless you. You see what I'm saying, Baba? And
sorry, my Lord, I pray to my Lord. I'm saying, how could ones and ones be in camp for such amount of time now and saying that they truly being reformed, being rehabilitated from coming out of the world? When you're in a camp setting, and this is how you live in day to day. Now, when the man step out, why would you change? Because you have done being reformed, you have done been, you know what I mean, made a new person, as we say within the chorus, a brand new man. You know what I mean? So the principles should still be embedded in you by that time. Because like I'm saying, it's every morning except Sabbath. You know what I mean? And these things, like I'm saying, if you truly reformed, it will become a part of your life. It will become a part of your daily habits. And therefore, the communion living will still be, no matter how far you go from one another, you will still have that. Blessed love, my Lord and Empress.
Seeing God in yourself again, it come back to the same thing, my Lord. We only saw God in the Father, you know. We never see it in I and I self. Even though we were being transformed and reformed, as I say, we only reformed to a level. And that is what the problem is. Some ones weren't purged to the level of where it become innate, infused within their genome. It was still just on the surface level. So when the Father moved, you know, it dismantled them. And all of us were taken aback because the culture never prepared I and I for the Father treading, because the culture was always that the Father going to be at the helm of I and I repatriation.
Yes,
but the problem, one quick thing, priest. The problem with that is that we did not see that the Father was teaching us that we were the Emmanuel. When Dada said, and this is out of Dada mouth, any Haile Selassie him, any Marcus Garvey is him. What did he mean? It's the same thing that I and I saying today. Any Emmanuel is I, and I, and I, and I.
My Lord.
So that is what I was going to say, priest, honorable, that there was no intrinsic manifestation of God in us. It was all out there looking at King Emmanuel. Dada, we were not manifesting intrinsically. the godness, the God-man in each man. It was the God-man in King Emmanuel we were looking at. And so our intrinsic God manifestation was not in place. It was not in action. It was not made kinetic. It was inert. And now some ones still don't over us that we have to activate the God in us and intrinsically put it out there. And that is what it needs right now.
My
And
Lord.
that's why priests, ones and ones have to use the Bible all the time to express their liberty and to explain their liberty and to validate their liberty instead of coming from within. Because the man said greater is within I and I than what is in the world. All that in the world come out of I and I. Even the so-called Holy Bible came out of man. See? So I and I must be able, if I and I was learning the liberty as the Father was teaching it, when you're ministering to the multitude, you're able to talk from within. You're able to write scriptures right there on the spot. As you speak, it becomes scriptures.
My Lord, Majesty, bless.
Honorable.
True, we say, oh, put the
You're muted, my lord. You're muted.
Yes, my lord. When it's on, I'll give him power.
Yeah.
As I was saying, man, we are supposed to culture from within. The Bible came from within us. So if we were on the hill for a period of time, learning the liberty, we are supposed to be able to speak from the God within and it affect people in that scriptural way, wherein it coming like it's something coming straight out of the Bible then.
My Lord.
But it's coming from within I and I. Yes, priest, go ahead.
Yes, my Lord. The item figure say we behind because I think everything is going according to job planning. Because we are learning now and it's a process. Now, it's a key to see the God in yourself. The greater key is to see the God in your brethren. Because sometimes we see the God in ourselves and we don't see the God in each other. So this where we find ourselves is in a perfect space according to our learning as we go along. It's a on-the-job training. We never had a manual. So we are learn as we going along to see that God manifestation. I have a saying when I say, well, mine not my saying because not the original. So I come across this. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Human capable of a whole heap of different passions. It have the lower passions and have the higher passions. We who come through the passage of time and manifest in this time, because Jade tell me say he was waiting for a week to come in. So because we are from that time even to this time. So we who come now in this time, the man come and he's sharpening us up as time go along, because time is the great experience, is the greatest teacher. So as we go along, we're learning and we reach at this point and time right here where we at, you know? So we must also be kind to ourselves. You know, sometimes we say, well, if we did, and if we, it not go so. We are in the perfect space right now, which I have us. And we are, as we say, we actually see the God in us all now. Because we did see it in Jah, and Jah was instilling it in us. But we never see it as much as now. In order for to eat a fruit, you have to pick it from the tree. So when Jah make him step, he bring a reality checks in ourselves. as I say again, it's not what you know, but what you know that don't have to be so. Because man and man was around dada. You can't tell me you can't see when a man life expiring. So we was all in a kind of a bubble, even the man them up there, because of a culture, a sentence, where they say, you know, let the dead bury the dead. The wage of sin is death, and the gift of God is eternal life. And just the way how we interpret it, put we at a disadvantage. Because look at how Jah did deal with Empress Menen when she did was in the accident in the Jeep. And then look how we deal with Dada when he make a track. And may ask a man, why would they do it so? Because we love him. This is what love is. You love. When you love a one and they pass, you want to put them away in honor.
Yeah.
So when we start see each other, the God in us all. So same way what good for the goose, good for the gander.
You touch a sore spot, priest. You touch a sore spot.
That set a precedent for we. And we had to move on now and evolve.
Yeah, you touch a sore spot. Like you say, it's evolution. Why are jumping in here? I don't want you to leave too far from that spot there. When Iman lost a son, when I lost a son up here, I reach out to camp and reach out to the father and say, yeah, that went down. The father said, my lord, make the family deal with it. See, so I and I Ballhead family come in and deal with Iman's son. That when the father passed shortly after, see, my flock of children look upon I and say, how come you left from up here? Because they must remember, say, Iman left from up here. As I come down there, come deal with the father laying away. I come deal with the father laying away down there.
Okay.
I mean, when I say deal with it, it's the first time I ever go on burial ground, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sent for Jabello and take the body and carry go Brown's funeral parlor and have it dealt with and everything and bring it forward for the Friday morning to lay away. That time I knew them ask I when I come forward, how come I could have do that and I couldn't lay away Iman's son?
Yes.
See, them thing they rock Iman youth them brain because I couldn't give them an official answer that satisfied them because I didn't know what to tell them because I was learning, as I say.
It's the same thing happened to me.
No, I'm in a better place. No, I'm in a better place because I'm on youth can pass right now and I want can't tell I say I know for where I youth.
Well, I'm in the same place with you because my son died. Priest Louis killed my son. And I never go the funeral. That my mother said, what kind of beast is? So what gonna happen to me when I gone? I said, I go remember you was, mom. And she did take it personal. And as the years go along the way, then here that I tried. And they may come and tell my mother, I say, mom, here what? May I go be with you till the end? And she, what you mean? I say, I'm gonna be with you till the end. And I bear my mother coffin on the Sabbath day with joy. The man them have me down here. I'm this man who just dead. I'm just be with. I bury my mother.
Understanding run life, you know. Understanding run life, my lad. You know, understanding run life, and that is what no fire I do have.
I just say all that to say how we have to evolve. And we use things as precedent going forward. Because our zeal, sometimes you get too zealous, you know? So as we go along and we have a humble and contrite heart, and I understand, we open my heart, and I think we are discerning spirit, you know? We discern all these things as we come along. It couldn't be done sooner. People could say so, but it's done now. So we had to learn from these lessons and move forward, my lad. So that is all.
And Lego the religious mindset. Religion and spirituality is 2 different things. Lego the religious mindset because that is what hampers us. Religion locks you in a box. Spirituality open you up to the world of information and knowledge that
I pray the moment and I will peace, Dougie. I am going to be out for a few minutes. Yeah, where I'm going to leave. So my service is going to be out until I get back in my house.
Yes, my lord.
Okay. Oh, so loved ones, you know, blessed a moment.
Honorable
Yes,
priest.
My
My
Lord.
lord.
yes, I. So, we have to understand that religion, because a lot of I and I came from out of the world with that religious background that we came up under. And while we were there purging, we didn't reach the level where we purged that out and we embrace our spirituality. That means that we didn't Lego the institutionalized way that we were taught to think about, religion or spirituality, or not spiritual, theology, sorry. We didn't Lego that religious mindset of how we interpreted theology, seeing, and use what is spirituality. What is spirituality? The inner God. The inner God. Does it feel right for you to allow a Rastaman that lived 50 years and more within the liberty to be buried under Jesus' name by some bald people out there? See,
No.
how is that Irie? How is that Irie? That could not be Irie. You understand? So as we grow, we understand, using that open-mindedness that His Imperial Majesty said I and I must have, of that open mind that we can receive knowledge and assess knowledge and discern, using the inner God to discern whether it is right or wrong. Because a one born in the world, if you were not taught anything, you still know right and wrong. Because the concept of right and wrong is innate in the human being. Floor open.
My Lord and Majesty, if I might say something, right? I'm listening, I hear the questions that was asked, and we have to dig into ourselves a little more, because it is simple. When Dada was present on the hill, man used to fear the presence, and he could always bring an understanding and think. But Dada ain't going nowhere, Dada just going internal. And you see, greater David and greater Solomon is here today. It's a parable which we must know how to interpret. The key thing that we have to get is that understanding, wisdom, knowledge, and discernment. We need to do an inventory of ourselves. Everyone needs to do an inventory. Being that is the starting of the Roman year, we need an inventory of ourselves, inventory of our property, our goods, our stocks, our content, our catalog, our directory, our recordings, our checklist, our Congress file and log. We need to dig into ourselves and see where the word we're using is a very great word, evolve. How is the evolution going on within the creation? Because a lot of us still sky gazing and looking at the thing and looking at Emmanuel coming from outside or somebody. Nobody coming out of the sky. Everything is within us.
Julie.
The holy throne where the man sitting at, the man celestial throne is in our mind and in our heart. And the man teaches that anything I do, ye can do greater also.
Yes.
You can see Emmanuel in yourself and in your sister, in the little brethren, in the beggar man out the road. You can't see no God, because one day when God comes to you and say, boy, you not treat me right, and you say you get tired and you do this and that, and you say, the little beggar man will kick the other day now and slap wrong. And the same God you talk to now, So we have to see God universally international. We have to see things bigger. We have to do inventory on ourselves. Because without inventory, we wouldn't be able to get the thing accurate. We have to be figurative. We have to be sure. We have to not take everything personal. But we must be able to answer simple questions in our own self of self. We must attain that flexibility to become better. And by accurate inventory, we will be able to see that visibility. That don't matter what screens or what is in our way, we can see beyond that point. We have to pass the stages and pass it on, as Honorable Priest Dougie says. We wouldn't be around probably the next 30 years, 40 years to pass the message. So we have to pass the baton into the hand of the living children, educate them and teach them, give them the counsel of truth and might. As the man said, we have to write a whole legacy of Dada
Yes, man.
So that a man could read that legacy and understand what the man did. Because only every day we are interpreting the thing, and the man is using all of I and I, because a royal telephone, the man teaches us. We are all interconnected and interdependent. We are not independent. We all depend on each other. That is the depth of spirituality that we have to reach today if we want
Yes,
to
my
go
brother.
anywhere. Because
Speak
spirituality
power.
is a network, you know, of
Yes, sir.
God and man and I working together. So we must take away the man coming out of the sky to save us and then live to the principles and to the tradition to do that which is right. Make that move. If nobody never made the move before and you think it's an extremely positive move, make it. We have to counsel with each other. We have to form ourselves as Melchizedek priests and as royal Melchizedek empresses and mothers of Salem to do that divine work ourselves. We have to talk to the elders, to the one who wise, who have a keen sense of human ability to interpret and break down things to each. We have to break down things to each other. When we are coming to meetings like this, we must come well prepared to
Truly.
be anything. Because when we come in here now, we come to control and be a beacon and to lighten up the whole thing in righteousness of salvation. We still have to use the principles. Although the Constitution is a floating one, it needs to be amended. A lot of things need to be done. So we cannot
Yes,
be
my
living
brethren.
in
Yes,
a
my
negative
brethren.
flight. We cannot walk a negative flight. We have to
Yes,
take
my
the
brethren.
steps in life to elevate ourselves. So the inventory is very important. Every man have to look into himself. Every heart knows its own bitterness. And every man have to correct his own faults.
Yes,
And by
I.
doing so, we will save back the whole earth. Every man have to save back himself and to save back one another and do the natural things that are naturally right to do. Accuracy is not a hard thing to know. We have to be patient. Don't be hurried to get rich or be glad to do. As Peace Timely say, yes, we must be happy at the stage where we are today. We are at the stage of realization when we realize, all right, nothing is really wrong, but it's time to move on now. It's time to gather that which is right and assemble ourselves and move on. We talk about headquarters. Headquarters need a library. You must have a library of Congress. All the records must be in headquarters. Headquarters is the same place like the celestial throne of God, your heart, your mind. That is where everything dwells, your pineal gland. We have to work internal because you see the outside could look anyhow. If you want the inside clean, that is what comes. Because what goes into you can't define what comes out of you. And that is a parable. We can't just take it literally so. Everything is within our understanding. So we must gather ourselves together and love each other and communicate with each other. Our biggest problem is communication.
I think a problem we have is not using the tools that we have. Like I said, the Honorable Prophet Marcus Garvey left a legacy. His Imperial Majesty left a legacy. If we are in doubt of anything, look at what they said about that whatever the topic is, because they have written on every aspect of our liberty. So look at what His Majesty said about whatever, because he's the author of I and I Rastafari faith. Even when it comes to laying away, as we were speaking, laying away your loved ones, when you read the Fata Negas, it shows you how to deal with it. And it's not telling you if you hug up a dead body or nothing like that. But it says you must have a way in which you send your loved ones on to the ancestor. You must have a way in which you give closure to the loved ones that are left behind. See, those are duties of the priests, and we don't reach there. So you have to organize and institutionalize those processes. Those processes are yet to be developed among I and I as priests. And the man saying, and I will, and this is where I'll interject this into the whole reasoning. The ultimate challenge of I and I, seeing, which is a speech of His Majesty. Him say, man or men search the pages of history for answers to questions never posed before. For precedents, and there are none. So the man said, where do you look for those answers? Him say, you look to the God within, and then to your brother and sister.
Natural.
Which is what we are doing right now in this moment. Because of what has transpired and the things that we have identified that are not going right, we are now looking within, and as we look within, we are communing one to another and sharing what we over from looking within. You know, from that introspection with the I just speak of, my brother. See, when I call it inventory, I will call it introspection. When we look within and look at all our elements within and we comprehend them, then we can say, Priest Imsley, such and such, and Priest Imsley, you said it earlier, Priest Imsley, we share it. You can now say back to Priest Dougie. Priest Dougie, you know, say, yeah, this is how I see it. And Priest Dougie share how he see it. And together as a family, we put all of that on the table because we are a unit of the intelligence. You know, we are just a unit. None of us have the totality. See, that is that is the test of the planet Earth. We are put here to learn how to coexist, to learn that lesson, how to be brothers and sisters in Christ. And when we understand that we each possess only a unit, but when you put those units together now and you make the whole, that is a force to be reckoned with, an unstoppable force. And that is what we had when Dada was in the midst of us. We had that force that expelled evil. Evil was always around the camp. I remember many times we had to fight back in the day with the elements that were around there. You had some brother Double Ugly, Piggy, Porky, all of them guys that were used to harass we. One time them beat Prophet name, the short Prophet Morgan. And we had to, it's a donkey we had to use, faithful we had to use to carry him up from the pipe.
Yeah, Jamagan.
Yeah, the way them beat him, we had to carry him up with the donkey we used to carry him up on the hill. And when we reach up there, the father said, well, Chuck, him can't take it no more. They had them deal with it. And soldier just deal with it. You understand? So I'm saying all that to say.
Two of them, Daddy and Justice, two of them ugly. Yeah, man. Him down with the gun.
Yeah, man, because he used to harass me. Enough time I got the pipe, he used to taunt me, try to pull me out of myself. So him could have do the same thing, where him do to Morgan. But you and I did just humble and don't make the words, them offend I and I. We just pull a bucket of water and go back on the hill. We escape them vibe there. Jamaga now was a more sterner man and answer them and it just get away. See? But we have to be practical within our liberty. When Dada was in the midst, we had that force. Now, we could have still maintained that force by maintaining the love. But we lose the first love. We lose that love when Dada tried because we focused on Dada not being there instead of realizing that Dada not gone nowhere, as the brethren say. He's right here in I and I. Every day we express Dada Rasta. Every day. But that's why I and I still walking within the liberty because Dada is within I and I.
Honorable priest, did we ever really have the love? Some of them Christian and them, oh, Jesus is my man. Oh, Jesus is my friend. You know, it was Jesus. Sometimes we put Dada like that. So all of we did love Dada. But we never really did love each other.
But so them say you're a liar then. But them say you're a liar then. Any man with same love, God and no love him brother is a liar.
Yeah. We were liars. We were liars. Remember, even at the 20th day, it had the man them in the field, and then it had the man them in the office. And it always had a little hitch between them two set of man there. So, you know, then yard man them start talking about the foreigners them come down. And it's just black man, you know. So
you're priest. We have to go into that. We give that now. We have to justify that in a certain way. You see, the man them will come in at the office, if them they carry the brotherhood, the man them in the field wouldn't get nowhere, wouldn't feel nowhere. But the man them in the office, they got pampas too. Their egos got overinflated. And then deal with man somewhere. My lord, when Priest Diego was leaving the hill, Priest Diego leave the hill in tears because of how them man they talk to him. And Priest Diego come from foreign too.
So that, yeah.
I'm on the one time and I hear a priest. I'm on here a priest. Pandada Varanda talk to Priest Giffy. Priest Giffy a weapon of all weapons when it comes to Bobo Ashanti. I and I have to talk a priest Giffy. Priest Giffy is the ultimate Bobo Ashanti. And when I did it, the man, when I did it, I hear the bridge and I talk to Priest Giffy the way I'm talk to Priest Giffy. My Lord, if I out a road, a problem. I tell you.
So then you just prove right there that I was in the midst, and it didn't have that perfect love was moving through. So it is no wonder that when he make the step as the only common denominator was holding all of them four together, because I might check with that, but I love that, you know. So there's Jah. When that Jah move, and wait, are you know? Well, I never really did like, you know, say, and so it's not hard to even see why we reach where we at, my Lord. We never
and that was
had
not I know priest, because maybe I was foolish priest, but I am telling you the truth. When I saw every bubble, no matter which bubble, I saw a supreme man in my mind.
I saw me that see it.
When I see every empress, when I saw every empress, I saw the goddess of all goddess in my mind.
The first bubble I see me was walking up, coming in from the airport, and me coming up to the track, and me look through the crack at the head fence, and on I see the south yard, and it's Bobo Bill holding the south yard. Me say,
Gentle giant, you know.
So it's like, whoa, like I say, oh, I got this giant vibes. Then when me see two empress impress me to the height, Empress Milty and Empress Esther. When them two empress come in at the tower, man, it's like a light, Jano. So as Priest Brownie, I did hold that love for each and everyone, but I was naive to see the difference. You know what I'm saying? That
you
means that I come down to
see all those names, Virgin. We need to immortalize those names. We have not done those
them, man.
We have not done those, Virgin, justice. We need to immortalize those names.
A memory hall. A memory hall.
Jabil. We used to call Jabil Gentle Giant.
Gentle Giant, my Lord. Gentle Giant.
Come on, no, Virgin. You have a little man named Blackboard. We used to call him Prophet Blackboard. Say Matti. Jamati. Hey, Jamati. I see Jamati carry up a whole entire tree pan him back, come up the hill for wood, for bake, for Sabbath. My lord, when the man come in, it took about 4, 5, 6 iron knife to take the tree off of him to put it down. And him one carry it up the hill.
Get your whole heart.
Tell me, said the man
used to take up sea water, so Jack can have him see him fresh a sea bath up on top of the mountain. We gave Jack our whole heart.
Virgin and I was water brigade. You're talking about water. We were water brigade. Man like Iman, Ja Eric, Ja Rocco, the Miss and Priest Rye. When we are carry water, Virgin, we don't ramp. We are full job barrel. Ja drum, we're full ja drum, we are full the 2 drum them for the tabernacle. We are give empress way in our house water, and we are do that and done before 10 o'clock in the morning. See?
What's there?
It was
so
water.
We get our heart.
Yes,
so it's so now we have to deal with one another with that tender loving care to each other, my Lord. Because when you see a one, you see Jah, Rastafari.
As the man
that's why I ever love people. That's why I ever love ones like Mama Maisie. Mama Maisie is a sample. Seeing Mama Maisie, I've watched Mama Maisie bloom like the lily of the valley, Rasta. I mean, bloom even in our sorrow full time. I see Mama Maisie hold the vibe same way. Mama Maisie come on the study group, and Mama Maisie contribute even when she's not feeling at the best. Because
and they are a living example that man and woman can live in a love. How much are we and we woman break up? We must break up with about 5 women already. I may see Sister Maisie and Priest Headley. I always tell them that they are a beacon to me. They are always something that I strive to have in a relationship. I see one time in a video where Daniel tracking and Priest Headley and Empress Maisie singing, I think it was Jerusalem. I say, man, them kind of thing me that love me and my Omega. As I
We
never
talk about Priest Daniel and Priest Shimron is two sample youth. Them is the ultimate bubble youth. When we look at Priest Daniel, him is the son that I would ever love to have. See, him is the son that I would ever love to have because that youth just carry a divineness. I find no guile in that youth. See, that's a sample bubble youth. See, because him grew up in the salvation and the salvation, him father make sure say it embedded in him.
So we
He
see where we
reflects his
can
father's
reach.
light. He reflects his father's light, Rasta.
Yes. So we see what we can be, and we just have to strive to that.
It's
Just
love,
show
my
me
lad. Love is God. Love is God.
You
Let
know,
us all love. Love is the
all right.
key.
Love is the key. Yeah.
Honorable my Lord and Majesty.
Mighty reasoning, great reasoning, Aya. Give thanks.
Blessed love. Honorable Priest Ainsley was talking about a point, and Honorable Priest Doug about man in the field and man in the government place, and a man exalts himself over a position. It's a duty. And when a man keep a duty,
I didn't say exalt. This as well. I didn't say exalt. I said it had a hit.
I am saying.
It's all right, Priest Simon. We understand him. Go ahead, Priest as well. Yeah, man, we understand.
I am saying because I have seen man exalt themselves and man feel better than man because of certain reasons. I'm going to just read a little small excerpt from His Imperial Majesty, one of his quotes. A qualified man with vision, unmoved by daily self-interest, will be led to right decision by his conscience. In general, a man who knows from whence he comes and where he is going will cooperate with his fellow human beings. He will not be satisfied with merely doing his ordinary duties, but will inspire others by his good example. My Lord and Majesty.
Yeah, beautiful quote, my lord. Beautiful quote.
So it's simple things we need to do to make it better. And we have to do what we have to do. Because we know it. We just have to touch the thing. Let's touch the hem of the man garments, you know? That's all we have to do. My Lord and Emperor.
That's why I need to encourage every man, all the priests them that is within the IDM region, to attend Sunday's reasoning. Sunday's reasoning is not going to be like this, you know. This is just a open communion amongst ourselves. Sunday reasoning, we're going to get down to the brass knuckles of our situation and try and come up, not try, we're not going to try, we're going to come up with a solution. We're going to rectify what is wrong, because if the priest can't make the crooked straight, him need to abdicate in position. See, that means if I, so many priests that have been taught by the Father, can't reestablish the Father way, then we were not there. We are telling a lie. We were not there because we're making the Father look away. By the glory that we shine, one say our Father who sitteth in Zion and reign in the hearts of all flesh. Through our works, one's going to glorify Dada. See, but not in this way. I am going to share this with the IDM. I'm in a bull bay the other day with Priest Lamont them. And one said to I and I, a resident from the area, said, you know, say back in the day, everyone did respect Baba, you know. Baba was respected. But today, nobody no respect Baba. My lord, that cut me like a knife. Is it one of the reasons why I step out and decide that I have to do something? I can't just sit down and wait for some miracle to happen from somewhere. See, when it's I just teach. See, and that is what push to call my brother them to the international outcry and make all the way come together and reason and try sort the thing out. Then you have the stern disciples, they move up on one side. Don't want to see that thing come together. They want to hold that thing back on some in the 70s and some back a date thing. See, and run where the youth them where I come now, because the youth them now gravitate to the 70s thing, you know. The youth them looking to the future, the youth them not looking to the past. So I and I have to establish the present that will establish the future, so the youth them can gravitate towards it. seeing, which is what we are attempting to do right this minute. Floor open.
So, my lord, question. What is the projection within the ICLATC of this group? What we striving towards? Yes, we have a reasoning and we coming together to say, well, sharpen certain points.
We are coming to redefine our liberty, Priest IMZ. Forget about the principles them in
But
place.
explain to me.
Like I said, we're coming to redefine our liberty because, remember now, just like the Constitution, it needs to be revised. See, something is not working. Why things are happening the way it is happening. Now,
So
I'm not pretending that I have the answers, you know. That's why I'm calling my brothers to the table. All I have is suggestions that may help in finding the answer. But together we have to find the answer. And I'm hearing some of the answers coming from the IDEM right now within this reasoning. I'm hearing some of it. You understand? We need to reestablish the principles. We need to start to find ways of coming together, not just on virtual thing. You know, see, we need to put delegations together and visit the different branches, reestablish that unity of the branches them. So there can be one saying and one doing, and not one branch doing with one thing and another branch over there doing something different. One branch interpreting the liberty one way and the other branch interpreting it another way. That is not how that set it. It's an order, and if it's an order, there's a structure to it and there's a oneness to it. One God, one aim, one destiny. One saying, one doing. Seeing? That is what we need to reestablish. See, and most of all, we need to reestablish the love for one another. We need to fall back in love with one another or stand back in love with one another. See, because the love wax cold. When I go up on the hill the other day, I go see some brethren and sisters living in a condition that bring tears to my eyes. I couldn't believe it's the same camp that I man grew up in. Seeing, I man say I brethren and I sister them in some conditions that unspeakable.
And yet still they would have come and say, like if the eye exaggerating and if the eye try to make people look away, reality checks. That's what they say, you know, my lad. The very same thing.
You know what I'm saying? After I come on road, I come on road, come talk to the family. I never come on road, come talk to the public, you know. I come and I was informing the Bubba family of what is going on. And shame and pride make man go behind I and retract what them saying. You know. Priest Lamont was there. Priest Ogara was there. Them heard the same thing I heard. But when I come and I telling the family, making a report to the family that sent I out because I was an ambassador on that move. See, representing a collective. And when I come to the collective and tell the collective what's going on, the one them say, I had disgrace and I had this and I had that because them want to hide the truth. Them is the same brethren that when Mama Sharon died, the next Sabbath they were on Sabbath, they were there on altar like nothing. The newspaper came up there and they did an interview and didn't mention nothing. Mama, up to now, not one of them called Mama Maisie and say, Mama Maisie, how you doing? How is the family? How you weather the storm? It's I and I constantly have to stay with Mama Maisie and make sure Mama Maisie stand up through this thing.
As 11 stuff vote, it's now on the
vote, it appears that McCarthy.
My lad, we have to do better. As a house of priests, we have to do better. You understand? Ones and ones don't want to come reason, you know, because is Jadogi this or that man that or some, because that is the type of way that a lot of ones function in this Congress. If it's not certain brand name ones or certain like ones calling or reasoning, them now said the God I call it, you know. Jadogi don't call nothing. This have nothing to do with Jadogi. I am one unit. Seeing, I'm just a vessel. Is the God I call I and I to the table for come deal with him business. So any man that resists, not resisting me, that resisting Jadogi. I don't have, no. I will buy my ticket tomorrow and go to Africa. But the Father, if I pan a work, is I and I, the Father teaches. We sat to the Father in the last days and construct the gospel mission. Priest Turks, Priest Jackai, Priest Campbell, I and I, is we construct the gospel mission and the Father left I and I pan the work, they finish the work there. Seeing? And I is derelicting with our duty, Rasta. I man, faulted to a max. I not trying to shift no blame from myself because I is a team. And if the team fail, I is part of the team. So I am to be blamed as well. See, we all drop the ball and we all need to take up the ball now and make it right. They're thinking with our Rasta. I'm
Honorable Priest Doug, I want to say this to you, my Lord.
Holy Emmanuel, I Selassie, I Jah Rastafari. I just want to bless up the house, this Honorable Royal Ambassador Priest Rickman from Bahamas. I just come in on the scene late, but give thanks. I appreciate one let me know of the reasoning. So I just come in my gigs. So I let me just tune in. So I just walk once now. I want to listen and instead of observing this new go and see how best I can contribute. What's going on? As I've been contributing, but still give thanks for this incident, give thanks for all that. Let's give thanks to the Africa Black International Congress. And I thank everyone who must come together and see how best we can make it better for ourselves and the generation to come. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, I, Jah, Rastafari. So that's what everyone's know.
Majesty bless.
Rastafari.
Yeah, my Lord, I want to let you know, stay encouraged and stay doing the duty. God is working and using your vessel to do a great work. There is no power or authority without responsibility.
Truly.
Who accepts one cannot escape or evade the other. Knowledge is power. And if it is not applied properly to create, there will be no doubt it will destroy. Many discouraging hours will arise, Honorable, before the rainbow of accomplishment, and goals will appear on the horizon. So continue doing a great work, my lad, and we all have to continue doing the great work. And I hope I hear some of the Empress on the podium this afternoon say something too. My Lord and Empress.
My Lord.
My lord, I have a question.
Yes, Royal MP.
It pertains to members who are in a community that are assisting the community but have to deal with the government. And we know that the Congress will say, oh, we don't vote, we don't do this, we don't do that, or whatever. How is that situation going to be handled, especially if you're in a community where your voice is needed amongst your people? Would be my question.
Bless the Lord.
Well, Empress, for I deal with the government, you know. I used to deal with the government when the father was there. I was one of the ambassadors like Priest Rickman, who the father always sent on certain mission. So I am more a government man than I am even a church man, you know, because the father more like in that way. I tell this story all the time. I was on the hill, middle of Sabbath, about 11 o'clock in the morning, Sabbath morning, and I get a call, so the father wants to see I. So I go to the father. I happen to be one of the brethren that had a ride on the hill at the time. So the father sent for I. The father said, there is a meeting going on at the Seabed Authority, a NEPAD meeting, and him want I to go down there and check out the meeting and bring back a report to him of what was discussed and what was the outcome of the meeting. So when I get the word from the father, I go down to the radio room and I check Priest Turks and I say, my lord, the father just said this and that and that. What is it? Is testing my test? I have to see if I go pollute I Sabbath or what is a test? What? Because I panic, you know, because I know say we don't move pan Sabbath. Priest Turks, my lord, Seabed Authority is who have I and I rights them control the waterways. And if it's repatriation we are deal with, it's going to come through an entity like them. So because they are discussing certain things that are pertinent to what we are about, the Father wants to know what is going on. Seeing? So him sending the hype on a factual mission. As some start to learn my father now, that my father was not a religionist. My father was a practical man. Seeing? Him always teach you, say, there is time when your donkey drop in a hole, you're going to let him stay there and he's a one donkey and dead, or you're going to pull him out even though it's Sabbath. Seeing? So it's understanding run life, is understanding how to govern life. And I rights have to, like we know, repatriation is either a person to person or a government to government process. If it's a mass movement of people, if it's a mass amount of people being repatriated, it has to be a government to government process. See? So how are we going to get the government to represent that process for I if we don't interact with the government? Build a relationship where the government will now deal with the United Nations and the pertinent institutions that hold I rights ransom. So I have to deal with the government Rasta, just like when the Virgin went to St. Lucia the other day for the celebration over by Priest Kailash. And he set up certain government reasoning where the Virgin delegation went and met with certain ministers and did certain reasoning on behalf of I rights and repatriation. We have to do those practical works to get a reality or a tangible outcome. Seeing, if you're going by prayer, which is faith, what them say? Evidence hope for our substance hope for our evidence unseen. No, we want a tangible outcome. So to get that tangible outcome, we have to do the work. We have to lay that groundwork by interfacing with the entities that can represent our issues.
And I ask the question because we have a brother here that ran for an office, and he did get in, and he is very pertinent, helpful in that he disseminates a lot of information, things that we may not know that may pass us by. He always posts and let us know certain things. But then when he needed the help, we were not there to help him to even get in. He barely even got in. So that's why I'm
Empress,
asking that.
Well, one thing we don't do.
Well, Empress, can I say something?
I'm going to open the floor.
Right.
But one thing we don't do, my Empress and my Lord, we don't vote in partisan politics. That we don't do. We don't vote in partisan politics because it is partisan. And partisanship means it divide the people to lead the people. We want to unite the people. So if the Virgin is running on an independent bill representing his own agenda, which is the black man agenda, then we would have to support him in whatever way we can. But if he is representing an existing party that is dealing with partisanship, that is where now you're not going to find races and races really take part. See, but it's like them say, sometimes it's not what you do, is how you do it. Yeah, Virgin, the them can comment, Virgin, and pull up the reason.
Bless the love again, Royal House. Give thanks for this night of reasoning. That's the reason more on what the Empress asked and concerning the Virgin. I'll say encourage the Virgin, try and encourage them to be more active amongst the Rastafari community and be a representative for the Rastafari community out in the political arena. Jassy, when our man come, we must drop X and we must mark a tick. So, but the Rasta man, and even in Africa and all over, have to be more political in this time. We have less do things we never do before. We just can't stay. That's churchical, statical, sabbatical, governmental, parliamental. So we have to see ourselves champion our own cause. And from my experience with Emmanuel, because I run in the Bahamas with a group of brethren for the first time. We started thinking collectively. All of them was in Rastaman. But I was telling the Rastaman in Bahamas, I said we need to form our own political party, straight up. I was saying no partial to no one. I say because we need representation. And we have to start looking along these lines. And as the young generation come up, because we can't stay just clap on and sing, and these people set laws and regulation over us, and we still being governed by them over the years. Jamaica, Bahamas, and all through the Caribbean, even in Africa. So, and this time I encourage once even the Bahamas say this time we have to be more active. When I run, Rastaman support me. The people that own society support me. I didn't say no was something new. Then, and especially in the Bobo Shanty, and it was something new. But I the word to Emmanuel myself. And I see in 92, I see the people in my area, through my good service to them over the years, they say run to represent them. And try know how to make myself a Bobo Shani. I was loyal to my spiritual leader. I go on and check Emmanuel. And that's when Emmanuel tell me, say, well, we don't mark X. So I dropped the stand. I didn't deal with it no more. When Jah sent me Africa, I came forward. Emmanuel told me, say, you can make the people mark a tick. So Jah gave me the clearance with understanding. That's why I do it the other day. And the so-called parliament have a problem with me. They want me to apologize to them, and they trying to find what kind of a penalty they can put on me. So that's dread still. But we have to mature ourselves still, because I understand what Judge Dougie say. You have to be wise, because it's divide the people, divide and rule, but we have to still have understanding how we going about this. But we have to find ways and means to approach it. And even selecting ourselves as a parliament and as a body, we need election amongst ourselves, just to say, because we just can't, even His Majesty government, all his parliamentarians, they were selected by the people. Because if we in the Bahamas or in Trinidad or other places, and we will select members to be a part of a body or international body, say parliament, the people in those areas, I say, this the most best person for us in this time. Not one person who do know you or do know me, they select me, they don't know me. They need to select by the people, and they get ratified by those who in authority. So we can need some form of they say no election but selection. We can need some form of selection.
My
we
lad,
have to be maturity, and that's what I see naturally, because I see
it's true.
and we hold on, I finish right now. As I see what's going on within the Bobo Shan, we say how we get in this position. Because since y'all make a move, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to select a leadership. All we saying, y'all leave Satan man and to deal with this, and Satan man deal with this, and you up and down all about. We still didn't know what we want to do right now. So we need to come together and put grip to this and select who we think is best to deal with the going forward amongst ourselves. And that is straight up. That's how
So
I
that
see
is
it.
what
That's
we're
my
going to be doing
position.
on Sunday, priest. That is what we're going to be doing on Sunday. Putting those things on the table and coming to an understanding what is going to be our approach as a collective family. You understand?
My Lord.
So, totally. And again, that a teacher and I, that things that we don't do in the West, because it's the West, and we don't have no investment in the West. Seeing like Marcus Garvey said, we'll give up America, we'll give up the Caribbean, we'll give up everything, but we must have Africa. When we are in Africa, my lord, if I can be a mayor for an area, I am going to run. If I can be a governor for an area,
My
I am
Lord, I
going
will
to
do
run.
that here in the Bahamas. I ain't going to go. I will do that when I hear where you is now. That's what I'm saying. Wherever you just stand up to where you stand up and make yourself known wherever you are. I ain't be Africa to do that. So, and that's what, because even when I first come in Bobo, the Bobo them teach me, say, we don't want a foot bread in the Bahamas or Jamaica. Man, them stop farming. Man, them stop doing really business. So we had ourselves Africa, and we didn't get there yet. Enough that so slow enough us that break enough us down when it comes to investment when they come and gain focus. When I go on here and see the man and he's farming food, I say, what kind of foolishness is this? What kind of culture is this? We farming our own food. And man telling about the farmer man and gone and a reaper man late, some kind of bull. So them things is foolishness. There's bottom culture. So we push them things away from us. So where we have to represent and stand. And here and until we get Africa. So we have to get Africa to do these things. I'm holding this back now. Then we just Bible and handbook and we think that can make it work. That's why everything will be this right now. We have to come together as big people.
That right above himself. Who did that elevate? Who did that elevate above himself? Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie the first. I'm on the amongst that from my youth, and all I hear that talk about is His Majesty. Even when him have a vision, just say, I would get up in the morning and say to I, boy, a little man come visit me last night, and this is what him said. He always speak of His Majesty. Now, I am referring to that to say this. His Majesty gave Ethiopia its first constitution.
Thank you.
Isn't that an example of what we are supposed to be doing and what we are supposed to be adhering to and following? We're just not going to do it the way Babylon do it. That is the thing, The man say a new world government, a divine government.
Every nation have their own form of a democracy, It's how what suit us and what wait for us. We have to copy the next one. But His Majesty said, whatever a next nation do, it is good. When we see good for us, we should adopt it also. When we see good thing, we should adopt it also.
Majesty,
but we still have our own way of our own democracy amongst ourselves.
Majesty, bless my Lord.
My Lord.
I use this as a premise. The earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. Now, Africa is our motherland, but we were scattered throughout the diaspora here. Now we are seeking towards reaching home. Not to say when we reach Africa, the rest of the world will disappear, because the world need each other in the world. So I just show me a meditation to say, our exile here should be our resume to go home. That means that when we agitating to go home, when they say, so want to come in Africa to do, say, look at what we are doing here. If we can do it here under the bondage, what we can do over yonder. So I say
that before we dance, yeah.
So wherever we are, we have to develop ourselves. We can't just abandon. A man say, down here, him say, I have priest, sir. He want to come out of the alligator pond and go to our mother. I say, but my lord, Trinidad no alligator pond, my lord. Then Trinidad no God green earth said way. Yes, we want to go home, but we not cost. I don't know, this might be our revolutionary thought, but we don't want to cost where we're there, because it's God earth still. It's the wicked ex-world. It's who we tear down. So I say, wherever we are, let us make that our resume. So when the African government see what we are doing, they wouldn't hesitate to say, oh, they come home, because we have to have them approval, said we agitated. And the next thing when we touch in, we uplift the quality of life of the local African. So then the people them now will be rallying to the government and say, bring these brothers and sisters home, because when them come home, them uplift our living order, our standard of living raised, because we coming with ideas from the West and all these things, technology. So it's education now becomes important. We can't just sit down here and talk about fireborn, and we will educate ourselves, because a simple man will get a pass in English and in the West here and go Africa with that qualification, or Ethiopia with that qualification. They want to know English. The pit what them dig, turn around on them, because them force we to learn English. Now the whole world want to know English, and we know English. So we have to look at the glass half full. We have enough things going anyway. It's just that unity and that love. When you come by Bobo, which part Bobo living, you're supposed to it's a prototype Zion.
What is the EABIC? What is the EABIC, family? What is the EABIC? It's a government within a government.
It's a government
within a government. Are we just saying these things? Are we playing Dolly House or Cowboy and Indian? Or are we really stating our factual liberty? If we are a government within a government, what does that constitute? Is it just that, you know, we have to become rational with our conversation and with our understanding, and that is a problem that I have with a lot of I and I. They are up in the cloud, them still up in the religion crowd, and they are not serving the people. Them telling the people, say, yes, we are poor people government, we are the voice of the voiceless, and we are representing the disenfranchised. How are we doing it? It's the same way we say we're going to redeem Africa. How are we going to redeem Africa? How are we going to redeem Africa?
This situation meet me.
And singing.
When we had the pandemic, I just rally with my brethren, them all mansion of Rastafari, and we as an NGO. So it's the first time the government recognized Rastafari as a faith-based organization.
People took advantage of that, and then for this month we had just a month sale, and people trickled in.
That's it.
Not be a gym dropout. I would say stick to it. You know, like you have that opportunity to have a great facility here. Have to be consistent with your goals, even if they're small. You don't have to be in here for hours on the day. Try to be consistent. Reporting is.
My lad, hold on.
Was that person speaking to the collective, or was that a background conversation?
I don't know.
If the Empress is speaking to the congregation, we'd love to hear the Empress them, you know, because the Empress them is always kind of silent, and you know, we don't want it said that we are chauvinists. We value our Empress's input, because most of the time they are speaking from that woman's intuition, which is a very valid virtue that God give the woman. The woman have a more balance, more time in matters than we do. We are driven by testosterone and ego, while they are looking at the security and safety of their family. So I would love to hear the Empress them if the Empress is talking to the collective.
My lord, it was coming from the background of Priest Rickman.
Oh,
It's
that's
just back.
nothing much. My TV in
The
that
reason
room.
free time to them.
Sorry, but let me mute my mic.
All right. Yeah, my lad. A situation went on during the pandemic. The government recognized All Mansion of Rastafari as a faith-based organization, and they gave me a portion of money that we must buy food and make up hampers and give to the people in the area. So I just line it up for the Bobo Shanti and them to get each family get a hamper. Hamper consists of flour, rice, sugar, oil, basic staple needs. And the man them put on one fight on me that they actually refuse to take the hamper, write a letter. So they say, I don't represent Bobo. I is the only Bobo down in the All Mansion. All we want from trade are the ships. We don't want not from the government. Okay? Swing 2 years afterwards. Is the All Mansion agitate for legalization and the ganja down here. We cut and clear the way where every man right now can walk with an ounce of herb and he can plant 4 trees. Couple years later, it's the Bobo them now, because the thing coming up which part man and go get licensed to plant. The All Mansion them have a reasoning. And the Bobo them coming now, the ambassador. And you know, they want that the man them draw the card on them and say, but didn't I them write a letter say? And well, no, you know, you can't come to understanding still. So because it had money in the makings, it was all right to come along. But when we was given food for the poor, you say, you know what, nothing from the government. All they want is 79 miles of Black Star Island. Trinidad can't give you that. Trinidad can't give center. It's not a Trinidadian thing. It's a government to government, because the African government have to come involved. The United Nations have to come involved. The West Indies and CARICOM had to put that on the agenda.
Yeah, but greater than that is that the Trinidad government now is now an independent entity, independent from them colonial master. Is the colonial master do that, you know? Is the colonial master have to give a free water we and ship, you know? Because they are the ones that brought us down here, take us out of our heavenly home and bring us here. So it's the colonial master we demanding that from, you know. We are only requesting from our local government now to represent our issue to them. So again, ones need to understand them liberty and understand the process, the protocols of these things, and not sound stupid when them write letters and do certain things and make themselves look away.
Yeah, a serious thing where you say that. And you know, I get thanks for that clearance there, because it make a practical sense. Because it's not the government down here really forgive me that. It's the colonial master and them will bring me up here. But them government here, seeing that they were part of the Atlantic slave trade, can agitate our cause on the United Nations. That's what we are saying, right?
Yeah, because right now, all right, right in Jamaica right now, who is running Jamaica? Is Jamaicans running Jamaica right now? Black man where did not slavery to, you know. See, them give a little token type of thing. Say, well, all right, govern yourself, even though them pulling the strings.
Yeah.
But it's I and I people, so we can't be looking to our people who were victims as well, you know, to repair the breach, to give an reparation. Reparations. Look at what the father said. That's why the man will learn them liberty. Look at what the father stated in 4-point agenda. Him lay out in there who we are supposed to agitate to.
Yes, my lord.
Our rights. And him never state Jamaica government. Him show he said Jamaica government must represent the issue to the other entities that are culpable.
Not true.
My lord, but you know, honestly, the father sent letters to all heads of government in Jamaica from all the governors from Buntum and Bustamante to all Hugh Shearer, to all the prime ministers concerning repatriation. He and that's the Senator Queen Elizabeth. He sent it to Jamaican government also. And I think I was one of the first brethren of Bahamas what I gave a letter to give to the former prime minister, the late prime minister Lyndon Pillen. And I was agitating to get letters to all those Caribbean countries concerning our rights, and even the set in Africa. But understanding what Judge Doug is saying, Judge say a 4-point plan representation to the International Court of Justice, to the OAU, the British the British Crown, and the United Nations. But even in that, we need representation, because the leaders who take power now, just like Trinidad have a government, but they say they republic, and the Bahamas and Jamaica still under the British Crown. But it's just that these leaders now still fall under that colonial mindset. That's us as Bobo Shanti and Rastafari in general. When we take up the mindset which our teachers, and when we put ourselves in those offices, we'll agitate and lobby much different from these leaders who sit in the seat of parliament right now. That's why it's imperative for us to get there, to do the just for the people. That's why Jasi, when our man come, make them job X and pick up the Ao Kingdom. But even as we agitate right now, the Bahamas supposed to, I just want to blog this, the Bahamas supposed to host the CARICOM heads of government in next month concerning reparation and all rights concerning Black people and the way forward. And we want to take the opportunity to agitate to them in the Bahamas. I put in some document together now to really, I'm a part of the reparation committee in the Bahamas. And I also was reaching out to priests, not priests, but oh, I forget the brother name and St. Lucia. I speak to priest Armsley and other brethren, not priest killers. Ja Rose, Ivan Rose, the professor.
Oh, okay.
So we could be in the Bahamas and in Trinidad and even in America, we could put the document together, especially in the Caribbean, really, considering CARICOM to say, because we need to form our own form of a reparation committee amongst ourselves as Rastafari. Because
now you're talking. Now you're talking. Now you're making sense. That is exactly what we need to do.
Let me finish. Let me say this. I didn't reach out to a couple of them and couple different regions concerning it, and we trying to see how best now we could come together and form that reparation committee within the Caribbean, so we could speak with one voice. Because they had a man named Dennis O'Brien. I can send the document where he owned Digicel in Jamaica, and he's the one now supposed to be representing reparation for the Caribbean under repair justice. And he said the Jamaican government already gave him the approval. One lady on his team is a lady from Trinidad. He even talked to the Prime Minister St. Lucia and also Barbados, and they want to try to get the Bahamas government to also yield. So we had a meeting with him but 3 weeks ago. He's from Ireland, and he want to, because he's a billionaire, he want to invest his money on within agitating for our fundamental rights and justice for reparations. So I asked him, what is his gain? What are you looking to achieve from this? And he said he ain't looking for nothing. I said, man, it's impossible. So what I'm saying is that we now can't wait for these people, because even our government, through CARICOM, reluctant to take up the real cost of reparation for the people. Because when Gonzalez them do it a couple of years ago, and they had a movement going on, our own first black president of the United States, Obama, he was the one who strike it down. So they're trying now to see how best now they could rise it back. And yeah, but so they try and have a small reparation committee. The Bahamas government does give a small budget for reparation, which is less than 30,000 euros. I tell them that's a slap in the face. That enough that we want to buy lunch. So that
that's not
make
our
no
reparation,
sense.
go either. That's not our reparation.
No, but I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying that's a budget for the reparation committee to come together, where they will have any small programs. That's a small budget, but that's to me that's nothing. But when the reparation committee was formed in the Caribbean, from Jamaica to Bahamas, Trinidad, all the rest of small Caribbean island, along with Gonzalez from the mentioned and Greater Dane, the chairman, they put a case against the British Empire for reparation, and the law firm they used was Long Day. That's the name of the law firm. With the Caribbean government come together and give them I think it's $175,000 where they put down to the law firm to start putting the papers together concerning reparation. And that don't even make no sense, because that no money. That ain't really no money. If you come with a program, you always could do the same thing. So what I'm saying is, once we Rastafarian community form the reparation committee, we could put a case to the Hague, because we are indigenous people, African descent. That's the push we need to take. We need to be the ones, because I showed the Mr. O'Brien, I said, well, why you won't sponsor? If you say you have such a heart towards this, instead of you and champion the cause, then sponsor the CARICOM when 10 million or when 20 million towards the reparation case. Because I know through Emmanuel, we could put this case together, and that's one of the reasons why the government through the Caribbean prolonging the sacrament rights and even the rights for us to use the cannabis as a business, because once we could use that, it'd be in a very short order for us to come together with when $5-10 million US to put a caucus of black lawyers together to put the case to the Hague for us in the Caribbean. And so that's the kind of approach we need to be thinking when it comes to reparation. and repatriation, because we just don't want reparation. Henry Beckles, who's supposed to be in charge of reparation in the Caribbean, he's Sir Henry Beckles, and he take on the subtitle. I mean, he swear to be loyal to the British Empire. So I don't trust him. So we need to have our own reparation committee from the Rastafari community and the indigenous people, and that's what we need to be discussing going forward, my Lord and Empress.
Yeah, so you know that Hillary Beckles, they're already getting money because Glasgow University gave how much millions to them. I won't quote a figure, but he received, because he declared that at the reparations meeting in Jamaica, where they received X amount of millions, and he has used it in Barbados at the University of the West Indies to do whatever he has done. And I heard since that they have gotten some more money.
That's Jamaican millions or US millions?
US millions better, man. Because Glasgow University I'm talking about, that gave him that. As well as recently in December here, December that just passed, Netherlands made a gesture. They apologized for their part in the slave trade, and they stated that they are open to discussions on reparations. As a matter of fact, they sent a television crew that did a documentary. They filmed in different countries, Suriname and different countries. They did some filming in Jamaica. I was part of that filming. I met with them and whatever. That's how I got the full understanding of what was going on. This happened in the early part of the summer of last year. And they told me that their country was going to make an apology in December and so forth. And it did happen in December. And that their country is willing to entertain reparations negotiation. But like you said, we can't have the bourgeoisies representing the grassroots, because the bourgeoisie do not know what the grassroots is agitating for. They are agitating for something different. They want equality with the white man and the Europeans. I and I not seeking any equality with them. I and I seeking justice from them.
Yes. That's why it's imperative for us to speak with one voice within the Caribbean from the Rastafari community, with one voice, and form our own reparation committee amongst ourselves, so we could approach CARICOM and approach all entity with, say, the spearheading reparation. Because this brother, Mr. O'Brien, my son, they have all the information, because he's from Northern Ireland too, but he resides in Jamaica. And he said the Jamaican government already approved for him to be the one to sponsor, and he'll be at the head one that the lobby to the British Empire and to the European League concerning reparation. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to be careful with that, and because you have to really see exactly what is really him, because no white man come and do nothing for us for nothing, and saying he just want to do this because that's how we feel, and he's a billionaire. So I asked him about Haiti. I said, how come you're in Haiti? And what are you doing for Haiti? Because concerning human rights. And he told me he did build some schools in Haiti, and so we have to. I'm looking at this serious, because he have a team also in Trinidad. A lady, I have a number, not with me, but hopefully Sunday I can bring all this information up, so we could review these things. Right. What I want to do, I can leave right now. Is that when next month we have in the CARICOM conference in the Bahamas, and our Prime Minister can be the chair for CARICOM for about 6 months. So I hope we have a document where we could give the CARICOM concerning our reparation demand, and how we see reparation from a collective, not just us in the Bahamas going to see him and put a letter there. That's why I should remind them, let's have this as a collective effort from the Caribbean, that we speak with one voice. So it's a direct organization was established by the Rastaman under their constitutional rights to deal with reparation collectively with one voice, and that's something we need to get all the way. And Next
But that's
next to
why
have a
I and
meeting
I as a
also.
Congress need to get an act together, my lord. That's why we as a Congress, we need to get our act together because we need to have delegations attending all of these negotiations. But we need to
Honorable,
have
I'm asking a
official
question.
and authorized. Yeah, we need
Chairman,
to
I
have.
want to ask a question before anything go further. Me see Ijaman start on the forum. Is this being recorded and put on him show?
Well, I and I have given no authority to anyone to record anything. This is an in-house reasoning.
All right, I guess that no one know.
No,
Next
this is
thing.
an in-house reasoning. Yeah, this is an in-house. This is not to go outside.
That's right.
Understand?
Next thing, my lord, we all talk repatriation and reparation. Though I think when we all say the same word, but I think a lot of us have a whole different
meaning.
idea of what reparation is, you know. I think we need to come and put down our demands on paper as for our what we mean when
As
we
reparation.
say
Thank you, my
reparation.
lord. That's very important. That's very important. What all we see concerning reparation. What reparation mean to us as Rastafarians? What reparation mean?
In 2003, they held a after the Durban conference, they held another race and race relation conference at the University of Central Florida. Seeing, I was invited as a presenter, as a representative. I represented the EABIC at that time through the divine order of the Father. Seeing, now at that conference, Iman submitted a paper on reparations. The Black Caucus of lawyers that filed the first reparations lawsuit ever filed against the colonial powers, their representatives were there. Seeing, the chairman for them, he also presented his paper and so forth. Ambassador Dudley Thompson was there as one of the panelists. You know, as a matter of fact, I and him was on the same panel. Now, the paper that I presented at the time, when the conference was sealing up, that same chairman of the Black Lawyer Caucus came to the organizers and requested a copy of the Rastafari presentation, which is what they called it, because I was the only Rastafari there representing the issues. And what he said when he was introduced to Iman is that the presentation, the paper that I submitted, made him have to go back now and rethink all he thought he knew about reparations. Because at that time, their whole thing was about money and, you know, repairing the breach, pain and suffering and certain things. Now, within the document, I use the narrative of the Father, where I was also demanding, as part of reparations, debt relief for the continent of Africa. Places like Nigeria and those places that them claim owe X amount of $1 billion. And because of that, the struggling, what them call third world countries, are not able to use their revenue to build any development in their country, because 75 cents out of them dollar is going to IMF, World Bank, and all these places to pay off the debt. See, so part of the request for, in the document stated that I is demanding debt relief as part of the restorative justice. Now, another aspect of the document was now establishing infrastructure in certain African states that were hampered and held back because of slavery and colonization. Seeing they lack the proper infrastructure to maintain their development. Where I have the raw materials and have to be selling the raw materials so little and nothing to the European countries who go now with the raw material, develop a finished product, and come back and sell it to the Africans at astronomical profits. We are demanding also that factories and those things are part of the restorative justice, where we can now make finished products with our own raw material and not have to send it to Europe, which was one of Gaddafi's mission as well, in establishing the Central Bank of Africa based on a gold standard, where I now never have to go to the World Bank and the IMF anymore for loans to help develop our state. We could go to our own central bank in Africa. So those are part of, all of those things have to be encompassed in I restorative justice document. It can't be just about dollars. You understand? Because in reality, how do you quantify 150 million people being murdered and more? Because the historians have said it is far more than the 150 million where them say that died during the transatlantic slave trade. How do you quantify a life, dollars wise? You understand? So it has to be more than just a dollar. You understand? And no government, and we have to be realistic too. Britain not going to give I&I $77 trillion as restorative justice and deplete their resources and bankrupt them country. So we have to think restorative justice through from a practical standpoint.
Of course. But I say now we have to put that document together, and mainly if us as Rasta in the Caribbean and us, our brothers, and also in the Americas, North America and other places, we have to put a fund together. I feel this too strongly, and invite the rest of our Black people to get involved, so we can really put that case to the ICC. We have to put a case to the ICC. We have to put a case to the ICC because the government refuse to do it. The Carol come there and do it. I think the Rasta
we need to work with some of our Rasta lawyers too. We need to get our Rasta lawyers.
Because now we have some lawyers in the Bahamas. We have judges who's black lawyers. Even the brother in the United States named Claudius Anderson. He's a good person we can reach out to.
Yes,
because we have a lot of persons who are ready for this, but we now have to even reach out to some of our brothers in the United States with dealing with sports, and let them see the importance of this organization and what we are about to really put this case to the Hague. We have to put this case now.
The time is right for that too. The time is right for that.
The Rasta man could take that lead and put that case together. So my Lord,
Abridging is trying to reach into the conversation. Who that?
In Hillary Becker's 10-point plan, him also addressed the mental state of mental health, because we all got to realize, when I was younger, I never used to see so much young man derelict and homeless and destitute as how we see today. So in his plan, he also addressed the mental health well-being. So within I plan, you don't think that should also be mentioned, my lad?
Yes, my Lord, of course, that's a natural. But what I'm saying, because even the 10-point plan when Henry Beckers have, he caught me half of that from the Rasta man. That's what Priest Dougie saying right now. It's like we was the one who championed this cause from back then. That's why when they even take the put and mix a gift thing for the Rasta man who was pushing this as the entity concerning reparation, not only reparation but with repatriation, because they talk about reparation, but they don't mention repatriation now still. That's why we have to still hold repatriation in that bracket also. Reparation with repatriation for those who want to remove. So it's imperative for us in the Caribbean to put, especially just in the Caribbean and us in the Americas, to put a team together to fight this case to the International League. And it take money. It take money to do this. So we have to come up with this, how we can approach this and how we can go forward. And we have the lawyers that really do it. That's that we need.
And we need to partner with the diasporan institution, because there are 50 diasporan offices now on the continent of Africa. You know, we have diaspora representation where we can work through the diaspora office to communicate with the AU and the United Nations, because it is now an accepted and respected entity within the whole government framework. Seeing we don't directly have to go through United Nations anymore because, as we say, like the League of Nations, they are becoming defunct. They are becoming part of the problem and not the solution. So now that we have a system called the Diaspora Office, we can work through the Diaspora Office as the body that represents our issue to the African states directly and not have the United Nations as a mediator. So there are changes going on that we need to be privileged to, that we are not, because we are not a functioning entity. But if the EABIC gets its act together, because the rest of Rastafari in Jamaica and most places acknowledge the fact that Bobo Ashanti has always championed repatriation and restorative justice. But because we, for the last 30 years, we have been silent and missing from the negotiation table, we are being left behind. So there's many things on the table that call for our unity, Rasta, call for our functionality.
Yeah. Because enough money when they keep celebration, and they think that's all the boo. That's a couple of celebrations, Sabbath service, and that's it. Everything that's going to fall in place. So we have to change that mindset. And I give thanks for the reason. But my Lord and Empress, I have to move, and I will be on the reason next week.
Sealing up as well, because this reasoning is really gonna take place more solid on Sunday. So Jarek man, inform all of your soldiers down there, all of the priests them down there, that are willing and free-hearted to come on the reasoning Sunday, because we are not going to close off that reasoning until we come away with a tangible outcome. Seeing, and the document will be shared to show what our aims and objectives are coming out of that conference, what we want to gain from that conference. Those documents will be shared on Sunday as the reasoning opens
up. The document, I'm opening the document together.
It's a committee of ones of I and I who is putting it together to present it.
Well,
the collective to ratify.
We can dissect that document and see
what we
agree with that document.
That is what it's there for. It's just a template to be built on.
Okay.
So that is why the collective is needed. No one of I and I have the solution. We want the collective so we can come up with a solution together, because we are all brilliant minds. If we put our brilliant minds together, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. We can accomplish our Father's will.
My
so,
Lord.
Family, I give thanks to this moment of reasoning. It has been very uplifting, and it set the tones for Sunday. For Saturday evening, we want to hear the Empress them on Saturday evening, and for the priest them on Sunday. Yes,
My Lord.
Bless the love of our loves. I'll be departing heart of love and heart of unity, heart of strength. Holy Emmanuel, Rastafari. Bless the Lord.
The whole of good and pleasant it is for I and I to dwell together in love and unity. It's like that precious ointment that is poured upon the head that runneth down the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirt of his garment. It is like the dew that descend upon the mountain of Zion, where our Father established love, life, and unity forevermore. Say the Black Christ. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie. Rastafari. May the item be safe, be blessed, and be prosperous in all the item endeavors until we reason again, family. Just love and peace to all.
Blessed love, my Lord and Empress.
Blessed love, my Lord and Majesty.
Look forward to hear the item and to break bread with the item.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the freedom of expression, my Lord.
Love, my Lord. Heart of love to everyone.
Bless.